Welcome back. Pre-game TV, talking about a game that everybody wants to talk about. The NBA championship is finally here. Game one. It's hot in here, and it's hot in Miami, coming off that big 7-game series win over Indiana. Miami hosting San Antonio, game one. What do you think, VR?
This is a great series. This is the one I wanted to see. Listen, when the Indiana and Miami series started, I talked Miami up. I said, save your money. Don't even bet Indiana for the series. You're just throwing it away. If you got to borrow, if you got to steal, if you got to loot, do what you got to do. If you want to get down and make money, you're going to have to bet Miami for the series. The price was so high, but if you wanted to make money, that's what you had to do as far as the series goes. It got to a game 7. That's impressive. I didn't expect that to happen. I was asked on Twitter, now what? Do we hedge? Absolutely not. Not for a penny, don't hedge it. The reason you got Miami is because they play Game 7 at home. That's why they are such a big favorite. So this is the spot that you don't want to be in, but since you're in it, you're in a good position. So they did what they had to do. Sure, Indiana pushed them. They don't match up well with Indiana. We talked about that. So they looked like they were vulnerable. Nothing could be further from the truth. This series price of minus 240 is a joke. It's a complete joke. The home team should be minus 180. That's what,
If teams are even.
Exactly. If they're even, it should be minus 180. If you look at the game 1 line of Miami minus 5.5, right? And Miami's lost 4 home games all year, 4, that's it. That line tells you they're pretty much even, right? These two teams.
Maybe a point.
At the most, right? I don't think that's the case. I think Miami's just so much better than this team. And I like the Spurs, but I like money more. And for me, this minus 240 is ridiculous. If Miami would have beat Indiana handedly, meaning they took care of them in 5 or 6 games, this line would be so much higher. The worst thing that could happen for the Spurs isn't the rest. That's going to be rust. Don't think that them sweeping was a good thing, because it may have gave them time to rest. It may have given them time to scout both teams by watching the games. But when you're in a rhythm, when you sweep Memphis, you want to get right back out there and keep playing. You don't want to break, especially when you're going to be playing the Heat. Now, Popovich, great coach. Give him extra time. He's more dangerous. I give him that. But listen, when this Heat team shows up, nobody could beat this team. They were built to win a championship. And right now, I think offensively, these two teams are pretty even. They really are. Even if you look at the data, it shows that. Field goal percentage, Miami's first, Spurs are second. 3-point field goal percentage, Miami's second, Spurs are fifth. That's very comparable when you compare the leagues as well. Defensively, I think, is where Miami's the much better team, and that's where the problems are going to be. Miami had problems with Indiana's bigs. That's not going to be the case with San Antonio. I think this is going to be a much easier series than the Indiana series, and I think this game 1 is going to be the telling point. It's going to set the stage for what you're going to see. Lay the 5.5 with Miami. I know I got to wait till we say, let's make it official, but I'm making it damn official right now. Heat win the series. Heat win game 1. Money line it. Parlay it. Tease it. Lay the points. Lay the series. I'm sorry. And I'm a Spurs. I like the Spurs. I like you a little more, but Miami. It's Miami, man. I love you, actually, baby. Sorry. Go ahead. What am I going to do? I'm a sucker for her. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I love you. I do.
He loves everybody.
I do. Say it ain't so. Don't say that. Don't say that. She could be one. Say apologize. Apologize.
Who am I apologizing to? The wife?
No, of course the wife. Apologize to the wife.
I don't know who you're talking to. It's a black curtain. Anyway, let me give you my thoughts on it. I know it's your play, and I got an idea who you like. I do like Miami in this series, and we've talked about this all along. I thought Chicago and Indiana were the two teams that were going to make it tough on Miami. From a matchup point of view, I like Miami in this series, and I agree. I think there's some value there.
Isn't there?
The only thing that concerns me, and first off, don't go back and look at how these two teams did early in the season, because if you remember, when the teams were going to play at the other place, they sat all their starters. The one time San Antonio did it, the other time Miami did it. So there's really no game this year. These two teams have played full on, everybody playing against each other, so you got to throw all that out. But the two things that concern me here, other than this thing popping out of my ear,
and the heat.
You know, I hear it from all the other hosts ever since they've done this. They'll keep complaining about this thing. Now I know exactly what they're talking about. But you've got a Miami team who had to go to 7 games against a physical team. That is a concern. I usually don't like to play on a team who played 7 games when the other team was rested.
I hear you.
On the other hand, I don't really want San Antonio, who is rested, because I think they're too rested. But I will point out, if there was one team that would use the rest better than anybody else, 2 reasons. Number one, I think they got the best coach in the NBA. But number 2, they also have a lot of veteran players. But I don't really have anything in this game one. I know you do. But in the series, I agree with you. I like Miami. But even though we made it official, we'll make it official.
Make it official one more time. Spurs at Miami, game 1. We talked about the series. Absolutely love Miami. Minus 240 is an absolute joke. It should be minus 350, minus 300, 350 easily. So that's a given. Bet Miami for the series if you like money. But in game 1, I think it's going to set the stage. Miami coming off a big game 7, but anyone that watched that game 7, it really didn't take too much out of them. If it was a grind and it had to go down, this team knew at halftime they were advancing. After that, it was, let's celebrate with our fans. They did a couple alley-oops. They were putting up threes. They were doing the Birdman. I mean, they were just having a good time in the second half. So I don't think it was the kind of grueling game 7 that, how are they going to respond? If anything, I think it's a confidence builder when the pressure's on and we bring it, look what we can do. There's no one that could touch us. And I think you're going to see that kind of intensity against the Spurs. And I don't think Spurs have what it takes to handle it. Thing with Miami is this: they have absolutely no bench. If this series goes 7 games, it could be problems because they just came off 7 games. But I really don't see that happening. I don't, unless the referees help San Antonio a little bit, unless San Antonio defends home court, which they should, one of the best home teams in all of the NBA as well. But they're not that good on the road, only 5 games above 500. So you're going to give me the Heat at home, pretty much laying a point, minus home court advantage, being the best home team in all of the NBA. I got to take it. I have to lay it. Lay the points, money line it, do what you got to do, make some money off the Heat this series. I like the Heat.
And I do want to point out, for those who are playing the zigzag here, and Marco pointed out on the radio today that the zigzag did very well in that Indiana-Miami series. You go back and look at the best teams in the NBA, your Oklahoma Cities, your San Antonios, your Miami Heats. When they lose, they usually don't lose 2 in a row, and they cover the spread in the second game. I believe Miami, 10-0? Is this? I know they're straight up 10-0, not off of a loss.
Yeah, off a loss.
Not sure what the spread record is.
Bam, right after when they crush it. They crush it.
I know they're coming by like 13 points a game.
Exactly.
So keep in mind for the championship, when you got 2 teams of this caliber, zigzag may be the way to go here. But the way to go for the rest of the week is Marco D'Angelo coming back on Thursday.
Belmont.
He's got a special guest. They're going to talk some horse racing, the Belmont Stakes. And Marco with his steaks, you know, if
he's talking steaks,
today, he's talking food,
if he's talking steaks.
You want to watch that. I'd like to thank VR for joining me this week.
Thank you.
And my virgin appearance here is
a great host, and
I appreciate
wave one
it.
more time. We love you.
And say hi to VR's wife. Sorry if I offended you earlier. I don't want to do that.
See, baby.
Even though I've never met you.
See that?
One of these days he's going to take us all out. We're going to have a nice dinner. But that'll do it for the show. But
honor my wife. I love it.
Also on Fridays, I believe Ken and Mark will be back, talk some more basketball, talk some more baseball. Don't know if they talk hockey, but if they do, we'll be here on Friday for them. We'll see you next week, and hopefully Steve Fezzik will be back to join us. Talk to you then.
We're going to nail it.